I wanted to ask, like, what do you say to your team, or what did you say to your team after a game like this, where in the second half you did seem to play well, and at least play well enough for a tie, even though I know you don't particularly like those either?
Well, Jayda, that's a great question to start off with because, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of things I can say that's going to make them feel any better because, they put a lot of effort and energy into the game. What I say is that, look, if you make a mistake and you give teams goals, then you can be upset. But the golazo at the end, I mean, the guy strikes it well. Sometimes that's really hard to take. But I also believe that there was one bright spot, and it's just a shame that we couldn't finish off some of the chances that we created in the second half. But I thought, when Raul came on, I thought, the team looked dangerous. There were many moments, not just the goal by Christian, but, Albert had a good chance. I know Raul's shot from distance was good. The goalkeeper made a save. Jordan in the first half hit the post. So, there's a couple of positives that we're going to try and take from the game, Jayda, but right now we're it's a pretty disappointed group, and it'll be a long trip home.
Rachael Kriger, go ahead. I see you next.
Thanks. Hey, Coach. Just wanted to ask about, with August's schedule being so travel heavy for you guys, especially, there's a lot of back and forth. You guys go to Orlando at one point and then come back. How do you kind of brush a loss like this off so quickly and move on, because you have, I think, 10 games, they said?
Yeah. Well, look, the games away from home, certainly in MLS, they're always challenging. You double down on that by having to travel to Orlando midweek. We'll cross those bridges when we come. Right now, the focus has to be, I know Jordan and Raul don't get a real break, but we're going to give the guys time off to mentally and physically, kind of take some days off, and then gear back up again for RSL. So then after that game, we'll figure out the next one. But time is running short. We need to start getting some points for some of these road games. There again, to Jada's first question, had we kept it at 1-1 or maybe even snuck a goal at 2-1, certainly we would have been all smiles, and then that Orlando trip wouldn't be quite as daunting as a task. But right now there are some big games, but I still have confidence in the team. They've played in many difficult situations, so we'll get through it.
Jeremiah, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian, you've traditionally been very good in one-goal games, or at least I feel like last year you were especially good in them. This year, though, 10 one-goal losses, just 4 one-goal wins. Is that something that you are particularly concerned over, or what do you chalk that up to?
Well, Jeremiah, that's an interesting stat. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. So now I'll put some thought behind it. Look, some of the goals, like against Chicago, I think we could have done better. There's been other games, where I think we could have done a little bit better. Look, tonight, the second goal, actually, if you rewind that back a little bit, just comes back to, being able to continue to put another team under pressure. And, Yadimar dribbles up and, we end up losing the ball there, but we get numbers back. And I think we still have it under control, and, blocking shots, all sorts of stuff like that. So I really don't have a good reason for it, because it seems like, well, you can take the first goal of this game a little bit. I think there was a little bit of confusion there. Alex stepped a little higher. Who was going with the runner? It's things that we work on in training, but we need to be sharp in those moments. So it's those singular lapses in concentration that seem to always put us on the back foot. So that's something that we have addressed in some of those one-goal losses. But unfortunately, Jeremiah, we're still not fixing them. So, we'll have to come up with some new ideas for the guys, some new drills to make sure that we can remain focused for 90 minutes.
Reminder, if you have a question for head coach Brian Schmetzer, please hit that raise hand function button. Next in the queue is Joe Mondello. Joe, go ahead.
Coach, wanted to get your thoughts on Danny Levis' performance when he came into the match.
It was the right match for Danny. I think there we got the tactics right. Nico was struggling a little bit in his normal number 10 position. I wanted him to get on the ball. I want the ball at his feet, but from a little bit deeper position, so maybe he could, get us some better possession moments. So him and Danny are a pretty good pair in there. We saw that in Toronto. And then I pushed Albert up, to his, natural number 10 position. I thought Albert played well in there. So, I think in that sense, it helped Danny to have two veteran guys in good spots. But Danny worked hard. He won some balls. He connected some passes for us. So I thought he was very good.
Dylan Butler, go ahead.
Hey, Brian, just following up off your answer about the lapses in judgment, is it especially concerning for you or surprising maybe to you because you have veterans who have played in so many big games and playoff games and Champions League and stuff like that, that's occurring kind of more often than you would hope?
Yeah. So my response to that is something that we've been, kind of working on for the last 2 weeks. Look, when players are tired, when their legs are heavy, they make mental mistakes. And so, I think from the long season, the Champions League, that whole, storyline that's out there, we struggled a little bit in certain moments. And look, it's not just Ymar on that final play, but some of our attacking movements as well. The guys just didn't, have the savvy, the one extra touch or the one extra little, pause or patience to connect one more pass before we actually go to goal. I think all of those things do stem from heavy legs sometimes. So we've adjusted our training. We've lowered the volume and kept the intensity high. And I think the performance tonight was, again, was a okay performance. I mean, obviously we're not happy with the result, but, again, like I said in the beginning, you lose on a golazo like that, it's very hard emotionally, but, sometimes that happens.
Jayda Evans, I see you have a follow-up. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Wanted to ask about, just facing Gonzo and in playing a team that he's coaching, could you tell any tactics or anything like that he might have used against you that, that because of knowing you and being familiar with you and the team?
I'm not so sure that, look, the tactics nowadays, I mean, he knows the way I think, I know the way he thinks. Not so sure there was anything to that. We were prepared for what they put out there on the field. What I do give Gonzo a lot of credit for, look, his season hasn't been great. It's been tough. He's got a ton of injuries, but I give him a ton of credit for making sure that his team didn't quit. So I thought what you saw the game open up, we were going after the win. They were going after the win. Their team didn't quit. You guys have heard me say enough that our guys never quit. We're a proud franchise. We don't like losing. So I think that's something that the Atlanta fans should appreciate in Gonzo and his coaching style.